Everybody knows that we need to increase our skill in order to increase our business outcome. After all, it's positive behavior that will bring positive outcome. Is it not right? So that's why we always ask ourselves, do we know exactly how many skill sets we are talking about? How many skill sets are involved in this real estate brokerage business? And we always hear of real estate agents having a lot of listings, but they're unable to close. Of course, especially right now, the climate is a little bit different. But we also heard stories that there are real estate agents who couldn't even find listing at all. So now this is what I call skill deficiencies. Skill deficiencies, now once you have skill deficiencies, what you need is a doctor, a skilled doctor. All right, so I hope I come in as the skilled doctors to actually help you diagnose what are the deficiencies. Now, so it is my proposition that you actually need 8 critical skills. Now, critical because if you don't have them, you're not going to get results. So now there are other skills that, okay, they are good to have, but they are not critical to your business outcome. So that's why I've come up with this chart. 8 critical skills, and each skill is being represented by a letter. All right, so maybe now we will try, members of the audience, right? What does L represent? Anybody? Okay, now just to end your agony, L stands for leads. Now this is where a lot of people misunderstand. I've carried out training, with many major agencies in Singapore. I've trained more than 10,000 agents. Now every time I ask this question, people tell me the first critical skill is prospecting. No, I disagree totally. In fact, the first critical skill is not yet prospecting. Now prospecting, you prospect with a short list, right? I know agents like to talk about short list, meaning, okay, you short list 2 properties and you start to negotiate with one of the owners, and we always tell owner, our prospective customer or our prospective buyer have shortlisted your property. So, but down here, I'm using shortlist as a noun, meaning you have a long list, but you're not going to the long list. You're going to the short list, right? So prospecting means that you ask people for business, and you don't go to the long list, you go to the short list, right? People in the short list have a more urgency. They are ready to buy. So that's why you want to talk to them to see whether you can broker any deals with them. So that's called prospecting. But day in, day out, every day, on an everyday basis, we don't just work on short list. The information on the short list actually comes from somewhere. It comes from your long list. So L stands for leads. And leads is your long list of possible customers. We don't even call them prospect yet. So you need to talk to them. You talk to them, you understand what's the requirement, and you shorten the list. When you shorten the list, you got the short list, and you prospect with the people whose name is in the short list. Isn't that right? So therefore, A is making appointment. A is appointment. When you have a long list, you need to talk to these people in the long list. You make appointment to see them. Now can anybody tell me, why do we want to make appointments? We want to make appointments because we want to see our customers, our prospect, face to face. We don't broker business on the phone. Therefore, having a face-to-face appointment is important. Therefore, it is a critical skill. You will be surprised that you may have a very long list and the list remain very long because you're unable to see them. So the art of making appointments is a critical area which you have to improve. Okay, now, of course, P is prospecting. After you get to know them, they have gone into your short list, and you start to ask them whether you can do business with them, right? Now, so what about Q? What does Q mean? Right, very right, very right. Okay, Q, qualification of your customer. Now, I like to ask this question. I always ask this question, and I always continue to surprise myself. What is the meaning of qualification? Now, you will have to start by asking, what are the things that you can do and your customers can't do? Can you advertise? Can your customer advertise as well? Can you do the show house? Your customer do the show house as well? Right. For whatever things that you claim you're very good at doing, your customers can do better. But there's only one thing they can't do. That's why they have to pay you so much money to do it for them. That is qualification of prospects. Now, especially financially. You know, your customers, if they were to do the marketing of their house themselves, they can, you know, they have even better budget than you. They can place bigger advertisement than you. But the only thing they can't do effectively is they can't ask the prospective buyer how much they are making every month. But you can. And people are less inhibitive when you ask them this question. Right? That's why you do two main types of qualification on practical requirement, financial requirement. So that is qualification. Now that is a skill, and it's a critical area. Now what about another P? There is product presentation. Product presentation. All of you know. Now that is a critical area. Many of you are doing new home sale, so you know new home sale is about product presentation. So we have to, of course, revisit it, because now, you know, when you do new home sale, it's very easy, you know. Let me tell you, the showroom is so beautiful. You know, what you need to do is just to make it emotional for them, and people will buy. But in resale transactions, you'll find that a lot of times we are selling ugly houses. Is that correct now? So now let me tell you, I'm very good in teaching agents how to sell ugly houses, and that is a critical skill department. Now, what about and there's no prize for guessing. And is negotiation, right? Everybody thought that you are very good in negotiation. Let me tell you, if I were to send you a questionnaire, now I won't be surprised. Half the class will fail the question. All right. Now, a lot of people thought that in negotiation you need to be very sharp. Wow, dress nicely, answer question sharply, and all that. No, you cannot be more wrong. You know. So a lot of people, when it comes to negotiation, they act blur. I thought that is a skill, no? You got to act blur when you are negotiating. All right. Of course, it depends. If you're negotiating on behalf of the buyer, you have to employ a very different skill set from when you are negotiating with a seller. We have more on that. C is closing. Right. C is not for China. not your Chinese buyer. C is closing. Now, when you come to closing, that's where you need to be very sharp. You need to answer questions very effectively, and you need to close very effectively. And I always like to say this, we close knowingly. Meaning, we know every step in the closing. I know, sad to say, despite all the technological advancement, closing is hard selling. But of course, you can be adopting your soft selling skill, but when it comes to closing, it has to be hard closing. Just too hard selling, just too bad. So R is referral and repeat business. All right. You know, you can't be plowing the street every day. Your day one in real estate sales, and say maybe day 1,000 in real estate sale, you know, it got to be different. Because why? Day one, probably like first 1 year, it will be very tough for new agents, especially if you join during this kind of climate. The market is slower a little bit. All right. Now, even if you join during bull run, you don't have leads. It is still very tough for you. All right. But now let's say you're on the third year of your business. Now things become easier already. Is that correct now? Because you start to have repeat business. But repeat business, does it just come so randomly? No, it's not true. Repeat business, you actually got to cultivate it. It is a critical skill department. So that's why you form one Ferris wheel, so to speak. The whole wheel must be churning and churning and churning. It cannot stop. If the wheel stop, meaning if you are weak in any of the skill department, the wheel won't turn and your income will stop. Now that is the whole crux of this 2-day workshop.